Hello and welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so have you ever been there? Like mid-conversation, you have this perfect thought right here,
Mm.
but the English words, ah, they won't come out. You know that feeling, that little pause, that moment you're translating inside your head? Well, it can be so frustrating.
It really is. And that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Right, we're looking at how to train your brain to think directly in English, skipping that whole translation step.
Exactly. Our mission today is really to give you some simple, practical methods, exercises, and strategies from, well, a whole bunch of experts.
Yeah, this isn't about just memorizing grammar rules, is it?
Not at all. It's about unlocking a more natural, kind of effortless flow in English. I mean, imagine speaking confidently, the words just arriving when you need them.
That sounds ideal. So we've looked at insights from channels like English 7M, Easy English Talk, Rachel's English, Lingua Marina, Speak English with Tiffany, and AJ Hoagie.
That's right.
Yeah.
And together, we're going to unpack why this skill is so important, and crucially, how you can actually make it happen.
Okay, let's get into it. So let's start with the big question.
Mhm.
Why is thinking in English such a game changer? I mean, lots of learners, maybe you listening right now, find themselves translating everything, right? Word for word from their native language.
Mhm. And that creates a really significant delay, doesn't it? Your brain is basically working twice as hard.
It feels like it.
It really does. And if you're always in that translation mode, well, achieving real fluency becomes very difficult. Your brain forms a sentence in, say, Spanish or French, and then it has to scramble to find the English equivalents.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. And what's really interesting is how much this translation delay hits your confidence. When words come to you faster, more naturally, you feel more sure of yourself. You can respond smoothly.
Yeah, you're not searching and stumbling as much.
Precisely. Think about the mental energy it takes, constantly converting thoughts. It's quite draining.
Okay, that makes total sense for speaking. But does this thinking in English thing spill over into other areas? Like, does it help with listening, for example, or even writing?
Oh, absolutely. The benefits go way beyond just speaking. Thinking directly in English dramatically improves your listening skills.
How so?
Well, your brain starts processing English conversations, movies, music, whatever, much faster. You understand more instantly because you're not mentally translating what you hear. It's like upgrading your brain's operating system to run English natively.
Okay, I like that analogy.
And it also directly helps with pronunciation.
Really? Pronunciation, too?
Yes, because you start to really hear the sounds the way native speakers produce them. You connect those sounds directly to English, meaning not via your native language's sound system.
Huh, interesting.
So if you pull it all together, thinking in English leads to faster speaking, a big confidence boost, much sharper listening skills, and even, yes, better pronunciation. Can you imagine, say, watching a movie without needing subtitles, just understanding it directly?
That would be amazing.
Because your brain is just processing in English. Does that kind of connection make sense?
It does, yeah. It's like a whole ecosystem. Okay, so the benefits are clear. Thinking in English is definitely the goal, but what holds people back? What are the common mistakes learners make, maybe without even realizing it, that stop them from getting there? Our sources pointed out a few key things.
Yes, there are definitely some common pitfalls. And the biggest one, as we've sort of touched on, is simply relying too much on translation.
Right, that habit.
If you always translate in your head, your brain just never gets the practice it needs to form sentences directly in English. It's like always riding a bike with training wheels. You never develop the balance to ride on your own.
You have to take them off eventually.
You have to trust your brain to navigate English directly.
Okay, that makes sense. What's another one? I know something that often trips people up is grammar.
Ah, yes. Grammar.
Focusing too much on getting every single rule perfect while you're trying to think or speak.
That's a huge one. Now, obviously, grammar is important for clear communication. We're not saying ignore it.
Of course.
But if you're constantly stopping your thoughts, second-guessing every verb, tense, every preposition, you'll just freeze up. You'll never speak naturally.
You get stuck in your head.
Exactly. Think about native speakers. They aren't consciously analyzing grammar rules as they chat, are they? They just speak. Their brains have internalized the patterns.
And let's be honest, native speakers make mistakes too sometimes.
All the time. So the sources really emphasize that making mistakes is just a normal, necessary part of learning. Fluency grows through practice, through using the language, not through waiting for perfection.
Right. If you wait until your grammar is perfect, you might be waiting a very long time.
You might indeed. Which brings up this point about courage, really.
Fear of making mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. Some learners are just so afraid of saying something wrong, of sounding silly, that they actually stop themselves from even trying to think or speak in English.
That's self-censorship.
But you have to remember, every single fluent speaker you admire was once a beginner. They made tons of mistakes. It's how you learn. It's unavoidable.
Okay, so overtranslating, overthinking grammar, fear of mistakes. What else? Is there anything about, like, the environment?
Yes, definitely. Lack of immersion, simply not surrounding yourself enough with English.
Ah, right. If everything around you is in your native language?
Your brain will naturally just default to what's familiar, what's easy. It's about consciously creating opportunities for your brain to switch into English mode.
So it's not enough to just have, like, 1 hour of English class a week.
Well, it helps, but it makes it much harder for your brain to start thinking in English if it's only used in that one small box.
Mm.
It needs more consistent, gentle nudges throughout the day.
Okay, so let's recap those quickly. The big mistakes are relying too heavily on translation, obsessing over grammar rules while you're trying to communicate,
Right?
letting that fear of making mistakes hold you back,
Yeah.
and finally, not getting enough regular exposure, enough immersion in English.
Exactly. But the good news is, once you actually recognize these habits, you can actively start working to change them.
Right. Okay, so let's move on to the really exciting part, the solutions. What concrete steps can you listening take, maybe starting today, to really train your brain to think in English? This is where it gets practical.
Okay, so a great starting point, and it's really simple, is just to name things around you in English.
Just look around the room.
Yeah, if you're sitting in your room, consciously think bed, window, lamp. Don't
Yeah.
translate it from your language first. Just see the object, think the English word.
Okay, direct association.
Exactly. And if you're unsure about the pronunciation, don't guess. Take a quick moment, look it up on an online dictionary that has audio, or use a tool like Youglish to hear native speakers say it.
So you're connecting the object, the word, and the sound.
Precisely, bypassing your native language completely.
Okay, that feels manageable. What's next after single words?
Simple sentences. Once you're comfortable with naming objects, try forming really basic sentences in your head. Start with so I'm thirsty, I'm sitting down, or describe things around you. This coffee is hot, my chair is blue, that car is fast.
Keep it super simple.
Absolutely. No need for complex grammar yet. Simplicity is your friend here. It just helps your brain start linking everyday observations and feelings directly to English phrasing.
Got it. Now, I remember several sources really emphasizing this next one, using an English-to-English dictionary.
Oh, this is a big one. A real game changer for shifting your mental framework.
Why is it so effective?
Because instead of looking up, say, the word happy and seeing the translation in your native language, you look it up in an English dictionary. And it tells you feeling or showing pleasure or contentment.
Ah, so you're defining the English word using other English words.
Exactly. You're training your brain to connect concepts within the English language system. You're building your understanding entirely in English mode, not jumping back and forth. It's a fundamental shift.
That makes a lot of sense. It forces your brain to stay in English.
It really does.
Okay, what about this next one? It sounds a bit weird, maybe. Talking to yourself.
Huh. Yes, it might feel a little strange at first, but it's incredibly effective. Talk to yourself in English.
Out loud. Or just in your head.
Either. Whatever you're comfortable with. If you're alone, try it out loud. If you're on the bus, maybe just in your head.
And what do you talk about?
Just describe what you're doing or thinking, okay, I'm making breakfast now. What should I wear today? I need to remember to buy milk.
Like narrating your own life.
Kind of. The great thing is there's zero pressure. No one's listening, no one's judging. It's just you creating this private little practice space for your brain. You can do it anywhere, anytime. Cooking, walking, getting dressed.
Just building that habit of internal or external narration in English.
Exactly.
Okay. And then there's immersion, which we mentioned as important. How do we actively immerse ourselves?
Right. It's not just about having English playing in the background. Active immersion is key.
So engaging with it?
Yes. Surround yourself with English. Listen to English music, watch English TV shows or movies, read articles, books, blogs in English.
But make it active. How?
Well, for example, instead of just passively listening to a song, really try to figure out the lyrics, guess the story before you look them up. That forces your brain to work with the English it's hearing.
Oh.
Or when you watch a TV show, maybe pause after a scene and try to quickly summarize what just happened out loud in English. Even if it's simple, it solidifies comprehension in real time.
Ah, interacting with the material.
Exactly. I remember reading about a student in South Korea, actually. He became incredibly fluent, apparently without ever living abroad.
Wow.
Purely through intense, active immersion in English media, watching movies, YouTube, podcasts, constantly engaging with it. He essentially built his own English bubble right there in Korea.
That's inspiring.
It really is. It shows you don't necessarily need to move countries. Can you imagine creating that kind of environment for yourself right where you are now?
Yeah, it makes it feel more achievable. What about smaller things, like daily routines?
Great point. Take small, everyday things and just switch them to English. It's surprisingly effective.
Like what? Changing my phone language.
Perfect example. Change your phone settings to English. Write your shopping lists in English, your to-do lists. Keep a simple diary or journal in English.
I heard one expert mention keeping a diary in English as a teenager, just so her parents couldn't read it.
Huh. Yes! What a clever motivator. But even simpler things, like just narrating mundane tasks in your head. Okay, putting the clothes in the washing machine, now adding the detergent, moment by moment. These tiny, consistent shifts build really powerful mental habits.
Okay, and one more strategy that sounded really interesting. Learning new things in English from the start.
Yes, this is very powerful. When you decide to learn about a completely new topic, maybe it's photography or coding or ancient history, whatever interests you,
Eat all in English.
do it all in English from the beginning. Read the articles, watch the tutorials, join the forums, all in English.
Why is that so helpful?
Because you learn the concepts and the specific vocabulary together, directly in English. You won't have this backlog of concepts you first learned in your native language that you then need to translate.
Ah, so you avoid creating the translation need in the first place for that topic.
Precisely. One expert shared an anecdote about studying math in Germany. All the advanced econometrics terms were learned in German, so when they needed to discuss these concepts with English speakers later, it was actually really hard because the foundation was entirely German.
Wow. So it works both ways.
It does. It's kind of how children learn, isn't it? They learn apple means that red crunchy thing directly. They don't learn manzana first and then translate it. It builds a really solid English-based understanding from the ground up.
Okay, these are some fantastic practical strategies, but it sounds like, well, it takes time. It's not an overnight fix.
Absolutely not. Thinking in English is definitely a journey. Consistency is everything. And it requires what some experts call deep learning, not just surface level memorization.
Deep learning. What does that mean in this context? And I remember one source making a distinction. Thinking in English versus thinking about English.
Yes, that's a crucial distinction. Thinking about English is when your brain is constantly in analysis mode.
Like we talked about with grammar.
Exactly. Analyzing rules, worrying about mistakes, searching for that perfect word instead of just using a good enough one. You're basically dissecting the language while trying to use it.
Like studying the car engine while you're driving, as you said.
Right. It just slows everything down. Thinking in English is when the language just flows more naturally, more automatically, without that constant self-monitoring and analysis.
Okay. So how do we get to that thinking in English state? You mentioned deep learning and vocabulary.
Right. So to truly think in English, you don't actually need a massive vocabulary of obscure words. What you need is effortless mastery of the high-frequency vocabulary.
The common words.
The most common words and phrases, yes. Maybe the top 2,000 to 4,000 words that make up, the vast majority of everyday conversation.
So it's not about knowing more words, but knowing the key words really, really well.
Exactly. As H.A. Hoagie often points out, the goal isn't just to recognize these words when you read them. It's to be able to use them instantly, automatically, without thinking.
Effortlessly.
Effortlessly. And that requires encountering them and using them a lot. We're talking potentially thousands of times in different contexts, maybe using things like spaced repetition systems or just massive exposure until they become completely automatic.
Thousands of times. That sounds potentially boring. How do you repeat things that much without just tuning out?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Repetition can be boring. But one really effective technique highlighted by experts like H.A. Hoagie is using mini stories.
Many stories.
Yeah, short, simple, often fun, or even silly stories that repeat the target vocabulary and grammar naturally within the narrative.
Okay. Like children's stories.
Exactly like children's stories. Think about kids. They'll happily listen to Hop on Pop or whatever their favorite book is hundreds of times.
Because it's engaging. They like the story.
Precisely. Our brains are wired for stories. Repetition embedded in an engaging narrative feels much less like drilling and more like, well, enjoying a story. Can you imagine using simple, fun stories to just absorb grammar and vocabulary almost without trying?
That sounds much more appealing than flashcards.
It often is. And the key isn't just raw repetition, but repetition in different contexts. This is where techniques like point of view stories come in.
Point of view story.
Yeah, where you hear the same basic story told, say, from a different character's perspective, or in the past tense, then the present, then the future.
Ah, so you're getting the same core info but with variations.
Exactly. Your brain naturally picks up on the grammar changes, the slightly different vocabulary use, without you having to consciously memorize rules. It absorbs the patterns intuitively.
That's clever.
And you combine that with other materials, reading articles, listening to podcasts like this one, maybe simple novels, all providing varied context for that core vocabulary and grammar. That diverse exposure leads to really deep, robust, effortless learning. It helps the language truly stick.
Okay, so it's about consistent practice, focusing on core language, making repetition engaging, and getting exposure in different ways.
That's a great summary.
But what about those challenges we talked about? Like your brain automatically defaulting back to your native language or getting stuck for a word.
Yeah, those things will happen. The key is patience. Be patient with yourself. When your brain defaults back, gently redirect it. Start with just small English thoughts, one sentence here, one observation there.
And if you get stuck for a word, don't just immediately translate.
Try not to. Instead, try describing the word or concept using simpler English words you do know. Like, if you forget refrigerator, you could think or say, the cold box, where I keep the food.
Circumlocution, talking around it.
Exactly. It keeps you in English mode, and it's great practice.
And what if you feel like you're not making progress? It can be discouraging.
It can. So try to track your progress somehow, even informally. Keep a little journal of English thoughts. Maybe record yourself speaking briefly once a month just to hear the difference over time.
Acknowledge the small wins.
Yes. Remember, it's a skill. Like learning piano or tennis. It takes time, consistent effort, persistence. Don't aim for perfection straight away. Aim for practice. Aim for progress. It's okay to sound imperfect. That's how you get better.
Wow. Okay. This has been a really thorough, deep dive. We've definitely unpacked a lot today. We've looked at why thinking in English is just so fundamental for really reaching fluency and feeling confident. We've identified those common traps like overtranslating or fearing mistakes that people should try to avoid.
Right.
And we've explored a whole toolbox of practical, actionable strategies. Things like naming objects, talking to yourself,
Using that English dictionary.
immersing yourself actively, learning new things in English.
And leveraging deep learning with high-frequency words through engaging repetition, like stories.
Yeah, it really comes down to making English feel like a natural, organic part of your daily thinking, doesn't it?
It really does. And remember, it does take effort to become effortless. That's the paradox.
Yeah.
The goal isn't instant perfection. It's consistent practice, even if it's just tiny steps each day.
So a final thought for everyone listening.
As you go about the rest of your day today, just think. What's one small thing you can do right now or later today to just invite English into your thoughts?
Maybe just naming the next object you see.
Could be that simple. Or narrating your walk to the kitchen in your head. That journey towards truly thinking in English, it really does start with just that single conscious thought.
A great place to start. Thank you so much for sharing all that insight.
My pleasure.
And thank you all for joining us for this deep dive.